All right, Elizabeth King, welcome to the Empower Network.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I find your message inspiring, finding your true voice, and we're going to be talking about that today because you're not just me, like, because you're meaning it. What's it called when it's double entendre? It's a double entendre.
Yes.
Yes. So where does this story of, because you do a few different things, and you've had quite you're in the middle of writing some very interesting chapters in your life book. So how do we want to start this off, Elizabeth? Where are we going to start? Are you going to sing a song? I'm just kidding. You could, but where are we going to start this interview with?
I don't know. Okay. Well,
I love that.
all my friends just sing their answers back to me now. It's just a nice little habit. It's fun to do.
I love it. I love it. For those of you that are just tuning in, Elizabeth is a trained professional opera singer, and so she helps people find their voice literally and figuratively. And the two are sometimes attached, but you also do both independent of the other. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So where does this journey start for you, Elizabeth? Where do we go?
Well, I could just, it all started because I realized that after singing for such a long time and having this feeling like I want to share my gifts and, what I've learned along the way and this expertise with other people, I kept getting asked like, oh, I really need, voice lessons, or oh, how is it that you do this or that, and how do you sing when you're tired, or do you get nervous? And, answering these questions on an individual basis and realizing there's a lot of people, I just thought, wow, it seems like there's really a need for this, and I'm at the stage of my life where I realize I don't want to just sing just to have another contract or do something. I really want to do something meaningful and have a feeling of giving back to my community. So I thought, what is it that I can do really well, that I love doing? People have been asking me for voice lessons, and I was in the middle of, singing and doing traveling, etc. And it was like, no, I don't have time, etc. But now I realize it's such a wonderful combination of combining singing with the background that I have as a massage therapist. So maybe I can, explain a little bit about that. So I started singing when I was very young, and it was just kind of like a hobby thing. And I was very shy, actually. I'm quite introverted, and I had to get over being introverted in order to be on stage. Obviously, it was just terrifying, as it is for most people, right? So I was very lucky because my dad at the time said, well, if you love, why don't you get a degree in that? And, most dads don't tell you that. They tell you you should do something that's practical and, will make you money or something, right? So I'm very grateful for that. That pushed me in the right direction. And I got my bachelor's of music, and I sang and toured for a couple of years, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with this music. So I stopped for a while. I then started doing massage therapy. And I think that everything we do in our lives, it's not a straight line to point B. We think, these things that seem like detours, they really are ways for us to grow and learn. And we take them with us to the next level, to the next plateau. And I think that's exactly what was happening. I'm thinking, oh, I'm losing my way, I'm losing my path, and I should be doing this. We like to do the shoulds all the time. Now I see that it all had its purpose. And along the lines of massage therapy, I came to that because of the need for wanting to do self-development. And it started with understanding the quantum physics and creating your own reality, and dealing with the childhood fears and traumas and these things that hold us back and limiting beliefs. And so along those lines, I started doing a lot of study. I mean, from Abraham Hicks to Joe Dispenza, along the lines of healing work. I'm a Reiki master and did clarity breath work. If anyone knows about awakening your light body, there's, light body work where, understanding that the body is not just physical. It's amazing that we can stand and walk around. We're 70% water. That's another thing. Masuru imoto, this concept of the messages in water and the things that we say to ourselves. We are vibration, and the words we use. Therefore, singing and what we say affects our body. It affects our consciousness, right? Like, just, I'm getting goosebumps. Just understanding all of this, right? And I think that there's been a big trend about limiting beliefs and quantum physics and manifestation and things like that. And this just fascinated me always. So I really took a deep dive into all of that, even learned self-hypnosis, and was able to change my sleep patterns, for example, and dexterity and things like that with self-hypnosis, kind of crazy. And after a while, when you're really an artist and a singer, you realize this feeling inside never goes away. It's like something that just is always like, hello, hello, remember me? And I realized I needed to get back to the singing somehow. And as the universe works, I was singing at a Christmas party, and someone was there who was a voice teacher, came up to me and said, "You have a really good voice. You should be training." So again, you meet someone and they put you on another trajectory, right? And I started singing opera, and I just absolutely fell in love with opera. I mean, just the amount of, just the power and the emotion that can be expressed through the voice and the music, and these, composers that are just geniuses in the way they compose music, just fitting exactly your voice, exactly. It's just, for me, just so fascinating. And I guess you could say I was obsessed. I mean, I learned, I don't know how many new songs per week. Like, I was just like deep dive. Anytime I do anything, it's all in. So I went into a deep dive back into opera, but it was still a hobby at the time. So here I am, and I'm in San Francisco now, and I'm singing nonstop, but it's just a hobby. And I'm in some productions, but it's, difficult unless you really get on the fast track, on the right track right away when you're young. I kind of started late. Then, you might not get into San Francisco opera or to the big opera houses, the places. It's not like Europe where you have choruses, it's paid for by the state, it's supported by the government, the arts. So I really felt kind of lost. Like, what do I do with this? And I decided to move to Germany. And when I was on tour in Germany, there was a seed planted in my mind that you can live and work as an artist here. And so I decided to take the leap. And that's just what it is. You just have to feel the fear, reach that frontier, and just jump right over, because my motto is, I do not want to end my life thinking woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'd rather try and fail than to not have tried at all. So I decided, okay, I sold everything, sold my car, came with a couple suitcases and a couple boxes, and started out in Germany. And as a point of inspiration for anyone who has, if you have a burning desire, and then there's the ego mind that wants to hold you back, sometimes you'll also attract people who do the same, right? So the boyfriend at the time, oh, it's going to take you 5 years before you can be a soloist, and it's so difficult here, et cetera, et cetera. We call those the naysayers. They mean well because, they want to keep people safe. But being safe does not equal growth. So I decided, you know what, I'm doing this anyway. So I came without even having a job and I auditioned for an ensemble, got immediately in, 6 weeks after being in Germany, just followed they say, follow your bliss, follow your heart. It will work out, just, being positive and being focused. So, I was able to have a career singing opera and musical, different things. I played the role of Billie Holiday and just so various opportunities with orchestra, etc., which is amazing. There's nothing that it just feels amazing to be on stage. Such a gift and privilege to be able to sing with an orchestra on stage and, guide people through an emotional journey. It's just so beautiful. And
This is
yeah.
amazing. Your story is amazing. I just want to ask, like, you jumped, you went for it. I got two questions. How in the world did you work up to the jump? So number one, and number two, totally unrelated. Why is singing, even if we suck at singing, why is it so therapeutic every time I sing? tension releases from my body. If I sing, I'm not talking about like for 30 seconds, but if I sing for like 15, 20 minutes, any tension is gone from my body. If I have a headache, a stress, migraine, it's gone from my body within half hour max of singing. So where in the world did you get the courage to jump? How do you build that muscle? Because what you just said you did is not common. It's not common. A lot of people will not do it. They don't know how to do it. And then number two, why is singing so powerful?
Okay, so number one, how did I get the courage? I think that, it's something that builds up every time you reach an edge and you decide to jump over it. So the first edge you reach feels scary, but it's not as scary as the fifth edge you're going to reach. So you do the first edge, you realize, oh, I didn't die. I'm still alive. Everything's okay. It was not really that bad as I thought. Then you get to your next edge. And the next edge comes, and you're like, oh, I remember that first edge, and okay, I survived it, but this one's really big. I don't know. And you do it again. It's a muscle that you train. You train yourself to listen to your ego mind, to be practical and go, okay, I hear what you're saying. I need to look at some details and really make sure that I check everything, that I'm not being completely, just blind, but I'm going to follow and go over this edge because I know the last time I did that, something good came out of it. Maybe it's not the thing that I think I want, but there is growth that is happening. And once I got into the self-growth and empowerment, sort of like your theme about self-empowerment kind of communities, when you surround yourself with people who think like that, then you just feel like, well, I can't allow myself to, succumb to my fears then, because it's like accountability, right? And you just go, okay, then you have a really good story to tell if it didn't work out the way you wanted. And in the very least, at the very least, you learn and grow. So it's with each tiny edge that you grow and build the muscle to do bigger things and bigger things and bigger things. I mean, jumping to another country, it's pretty big. Before that, it was, getting on stage. It was jumping out of an airplane. I had to do an opera camp kind of thing. I was freaking out. I mean, this is like 2 weeks. I have to be on stage, orchestra, do some roles, blah, blah, blah. I don't know anyone. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done an opera before. And just, by coincidence, because there's no coincidences, as as we're co-creating our reality, I met someone who is who's doing, what is it called? I know the word in German now. Jumping out of an airplane, right?
Yeah, skydiving or parachuting.
Skydiving. And I thought, this is really interesting. And his name was Angel. And I thought, okay, if this is not a hint from the universe, I don't know what is. Totally crazy. So I was like, okay, I'm doing it. If I can jump out of an airplane at whatever 1,000 feet, I can get in front of an audience and sing. No problem. I'm just going to do this. And I trust you because you've been doing how many thousands of jumps? Okay, so let's go. So after I did that, that was huge. Like, talk about huge edge, right? You're in the plane. You're not allowed to stay in the airplane. You're attached to the person jumping out. So you are leaving the plane. There is no, oh, I changed my mind. You're changing your mind as you're jumping out. So that's it, right?
Yeah.
So it was so amazing. It was like, I felt like I was floating. I had this fear of like, I'm not going to be able to breathe. If you're going so fast, how is that possible? And he explained to me how it worked and everything. And I had so much fun that I was like, okay, if I can do that, then I can sing in front of an audience, and it's not like I don't ever get nervous, but now I know how to retrain my mind and reframe what that nervousness is into excitement. And every time you do that, and just singing, this comes up, brings me to the next question you have. Why is singing feeling so good? What does it do? Why? I mean, if you're just singing by yourself, there's the physical aspect of you're moving air, you're moving energy through your body. You're being in touch with your subtle energy body, which we are not in touch with on a normal basis because we're in our minds. So we're from here up. You get in touch with your subtle energy body and you're moving that, and you're just doing it by chance because you're focused on something that is, it's connecting you to your emotions. Music moves. Emotion is energy in motion. So that's automatic when you do it. If you're singing something for yourself, it's something that you love. So there's a reason why, and you're connecting to that aspect of it. And yeah, I think it's just a healing thing, and it works the brain. There's energy going back and forth, cross brain training because of music. It's mathematical. There's so many things. I mean, there's so many studies about the benefits of studying music and why music is important for the development of the brain, development of emotional intelligence. I mean, it's necessary. It really is necessary. So yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if that answered your question.
No. I'm just caught up in your story, and as you're currently writing it. So where are you living right now? What are you up to currently?
What I'm doing now, I'm kind of in travel mode. So at the moment, I'm in Berlin. I'm very happy that the weather has been so nice. We finally have some spring, because the reason I left is because it's so incredibly gray. Coming from California, I mean, I could survive for 11 years in Berlin with the weather, etc. But it's just so gray, and yeah, I need sun. So I was on the Canary Islands for a few months, and just working on building out my coaching business, and working with a few clients, beta testing in a way, making sure I'm offering exactly what people want and need. I'm so convinced now. Just had another amazing call with someone today who's like, my boss is totally behind me. He wants me to do this. I need to be presenting, but I have this fear, and I know I can do better. I know that it can be authentic when I see other people speaking, and I know it doesn't sound authentic, and we're going to work on that. So this online, working online with people is amazing, because then I have the opportunity to, be somewhere sunny, and then also offer something of value, and have kind of a combination. So I'm in Berlin for a few weeks. I have also massage clients here, and yeah, like I said, did a voice lesson with my friend and teacher, and it was amazing, and working on some new repertoire, and looking to see who I can engage with as far as an agent, or maybe some agents. We'll see. Yeah. So the
Amazing.
next step will be, a little vacation, I think, is in order, because I've been working hard. So
Can you take us through, because you have the singing trained background, when you help people find their voice, you go to take it to a whole nother level, because it's not just find your voice as in what's your message and how do you find that honestly, but it's also the mechanics and energy wise of how you're aligning your voice in your being. So how do you walk people through that? Because I've never met someone yet that does that.
okay, so the foundation for any kind of, and anyone who's done yoga, anyone who's done meditation, what does it come down to? It comes down to the breath. The breath is just the most important thing. It's the foundation. And most of us, if you have never sung or trained your voice, we breathe incorrectly. And most of the time, most of us spend the time being in stress mode. So that means that our sympathetic nervous system is firing. We're in fight or flight mode all the time. And that means that you're breathing up here, thoracic breath, as opposed to a deeper diaphragmatic breath. And this deeper breath connects you to your dantian. It connects you to your third chakra, to your self-esteem area, to your second chakra, these centers of power. So our energy system is in the center. Most people have heard about the chakra system at some point, probably, if they've done yoga, and they've at least heard about the idea of what it is. Energy centers that are in the body, in the center channel of the body. And these energy channels help us communicate our internal world with the external world. So they inform us about our feelings, our emotions, as it pertains to certain issues that we're having. So the root chakra has to do with grounding and the tribal energy, feeling connected to family and tradition and security. The second one has to do with sexuality and our relationship to one other person, one-on-one. The third one has to do with our self-esteem. So, when we say, I just feel it in my gut, I got a gut feeling about something, we need to trust those things, or at least pay attention and give presence to what it is, so we can follow that and see where it leads us instead of like ignoring, right? Then there's the heart and the throat speaking our truth. Therefore, singing, activating this chakra to speak our truth. We have the third eye, and then the seventh, and then the eighth chakra. So all these systems and the internal energy systems, we just, by breathing and becoming present in the body, we're able to notice different blockages that may be in our body. Giving presence to that then allows it to be metabolized. The body is so incredibly intelligent. It knows exactly what to do. If you cut yourself, it will heal itself. You don't have to tell your body to do that. It just does it. But we are so busy running around with our to-do list being in either the past or the future that we're not in the present moment. This is nothing new. We all know this, right? The power of now. Eckhart Tolle, maybe, people have heard of this, and just the concept of being present. And, I like to work with this new way of meditation activation that I've recently incorporated, in addition to just the knowledge that I've had from meditating, etc. And just this being able to be present gives the body a chance to move the energy through the body. So breathing, I was just looking at a documentary from the scientist, I don't remember his name, just like one of those, just way beyond my intelligence as far as like neuroscience, like mind-blowing, right? Talking about the insular and the brain and, all these things. I'm just so fascinated by this stuff. And when he mentioned this, I thought, yes, this is exactly what I mean. Breathing, taking 10 deep breaths, for example. I didn't know this. It activates the vagus nerve. And this vagus nerve goes from the root of our spine into the brain. And I don't know, it's just, the breath is just really amazing. So that's where I start, is with the breath. The breath allows you to connect to yourself internally, and retraining the breath so you're breathing correctly gives us a foundation then to work on voice training. So having vocal exercises. Now, I've made them simple so that anyone who has never sung before, it doesn't matter, the Africans say, if you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. So anyone who can talk and has a desire to use their voice correctly and to have strength in their voice can do it. I've made these exercises very, very simple, so there's no barrier to entry. So then we work on vocal exercises. At the same time, we do this presence work where we are aware of the energy that is in our body and allowing it to metabolize, allowing that energy to flow out of the body and reintegrating, parts of ourselves that that are stuck in time because of, some trauma or something that's happened in the past. And, we just get stuck in, the past. And the more we can just bring ourselves into the present moment, the more of ourselves are present for whatever it is that we're doing. So we become just slowly over time more authentic, right? I mean, we're all here now, not stuck in the future or stuck in the past. And it's not a magic wand. It doesn't happen overnight. But, I feel like singing is kind of like a secret tool to entry, into this world where it's super fun. And you don't realize, the changes that are happening. I have my students tell me, like, I thought this was just going to be voice lessons. And oh my God, we're doing healing work. And I'm realizing that, there's a part of me that I left behind as a little girl. I was never told that I was this or this or this. And now I'm becoming present and I have this memory come back that I didn't have before. And then at the same time, so the physical voice is connected to the inner voice. We need to hear our inner voice, but it's so loud. The ego is so loud, and the outside world and the inner critic is so loud. You need to turn that dial down. This inner voice is very, very quiet. So there's some work to be done to really be able to hear this inner voice. And so
it's
it
beautiful.
leads to many different things. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love what you're saying. I hope to get you as an instructor in the academy. I'll talk to you about this after, but everything you're saying is just beautiful because as someone that sings, I know what it's like. Everything you're speaking of, I don't have the framework. I don't have the knowledge you have, but I have some of the experience of seeing how healing it is for me. Even if it's imperfect, it doesn't matter. It's this way. It's like we've been hardwired to communicate through singing, through our voice, and through singing in a way that just fixes things. It not only it fixes things, it allows us to tap into realms we don't always have access to otherwise. It's this mystical experiment that we can do almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can people connect with you? Are they free? I'll be tagging you in this. Are they free to add you here on Facebook? How would you like to give a website you want them to reach out to you at?
Sure. My website is www.true/voice.de.
Yep.
And they can find me on Facebook, Elizabeth Hansette King. My middle name is Hansette. It's a made-up name that my mom gave me. You'll never find it anywhere. So I'm sure you'll find me.
Okay.
And yeah, I can also, I don't know if you want me to give you the Calendly link if someone is interested, is curious, and I do what's called a presentation review or a discovery call. So they just want to get information, see if it's a match, and they want to do some voice work. I love to help experts and coaches who are wanting to they're public speaking novices, right? So they want to present, they want to make themselves visible online because we're all online now and it's scary. And not having any training as a public speaker, but you're an expert and you have this business and you have your message and you have something you're passionate about, but then you don't know how, and it's really scary. That I love to do is just help people, jump over this edge. And at the same time, they have the tools to, make their voice stronger. So it's not so scary after all. And providing a setting so you can practice when we do work online and practice in a group. That's how it is, right? You go over one edge after the next, and then you get stronger and stronger. So that's what I like to provide. So yeah, I can give you my Calendly link if you want. I can give that to you afterwards. And yeah.
Can you drop that in the comments after?
Sure.
After or whenever, if you can do it now. I'm not sure if you have two devices going, but yeah, feel free to drop that in the comments. And thank you so much, Elizabeth, for being on the Empower Network. If you've been listening or watching, it's Elizabeth Hansette King.
Yes.
And truevoice.de, like
.de, because it's a German website.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, we'll continue chatting after this, Elizabeth. I'll just stop the recording here, stop the live stream. But thanks so much. This has been amazing and very informative.
Thank you. It's awesome being here.